to the Global Rock Pooling Show. As part of this YouTube series, amazing rock poolers from around the world send me their favourite videos and photos of some of the most special rock pooling encounters that they have had. I collate them, tell you about them and compare what we're finding around the world when you put your wellies on. So far, we have covered species from 5 different continents, 10 countries and over 50 rock pooling species. You can check out part 1 here, where we talk about things from hermit crabs to amazing octopuses. And today's episode is going to be no different. Well, I mean, it will be a little different because we're not talking about the same species, but you know what I mean. Today's video is full of absolutely incredible species and some species that are absolutely going to make your jaws drop. In fact, I think you'll find them very exciting. There's going to be a shark somewhere in the video, so just in case you didn't get that. If this sounds really exciting, and it should, because it's going to be really exciting, then make sure to head down and click the subscribe button to help support me, my channel, and to make sure you're not missing out on future awesome marine biology content. We are starting off today's video with high fashion. We are talking about the species that love to walk the runway, that like to take time to make sure their appearance is perfect, and if there were mirrors in the ocean, you would definitely find this species in front of them, perfecting their runway outfit look, because their life literally depends on it. We are talking about decorator crabs. And for this, we're going to have to flip our globe, travel all the way around the world from where I am in the UK and head over to Australia. So this video of a decorator crab was sent in from Australia, and usually these creatures are really difficult to spot. So this rock pooler had some great luck, as this crab darted across some really empty rock and it stands out like a sore thumb. But the whole point of a decorator crab is to not stand up like that. And check out this footage of a decorator crab that I saw here in the UK. Can you spot it yet? Decorator crabs are able to take bits of seaweed, even anemones, hydroids and sponges, and attach them to their shell like a really fancy but very important outfit. To do this, some species even release like a sticky substance on top of their shells. And I've held one of these, and they actually feel really soft compared to other crabs, and it's kind of that smooth, soft, sticky texture that makes you think that. This means that they can go about their business hunting and hiding without being seen. Well, unless either you're that rock pooling crab, which, let me just point this out, has got some ninja skills. Being able to do this means that they can go and live their lives hiding from predators and catching food without being seen, and that's going to be really handy. This is also handy especially when it comes to hiding from predators, because decorator crabs tend to be a bit smaller than their very similar cousins, the spider crabs. Like decorator crabs, spider crabs can be found around the world, like this species here in Iceland. Apologise. This, I'm sure you couldn't tell, is a lovely handcrafted globe, and I seem to have run out of room for Iceland and Greenland and a few other countries are definitely not the shape that they should be. So we're going to place Iceland like here, and it should be like there-ish. Decoration for spider crabs aren't always as important. Now this species of spider crab that I found in Scotland does have some decoration, but it's a much smaller species and doesn't get much larger than about 15 centimetres. But for other species of spider crab, there is no hiding them. The Japanese spider crab has a claw-to-claw wingspan? Claw span? definitely a claw span, but what you would say is wingspan. Anyway, claw span of 12 feet. That's more than 2 and something of me. Imagine getting a hug from that. It would be fantastic. It would be the biggest, least softest hug you've ever had, and probably not the safest, but oh, that is absolutely incredible. It's actually the largest arthropod on the entire planet. So spider crabs compared to decorator crabs, I mean, at some point you just don't need the decoration to hide anymore, because you'd need a lot of seaweed to hide. Speaking of giants, let's zip all the way down to South Africa, where one rockpooler has sent in these giant species, including giant limpets, giant barnacles, and oh my goodness, giant chitons. Compare this to the species you find in the UK, and the size difference is huge. I would love to see such giant creatures. It's really, really amazing. And I didn't know you could get such big chitons. Chitons in the UK are probably no bigger than half a finger size, and this chiton seems to be as big as a hand. One reason I absolutely love this platform and my social medias for sharing and getting it out there is that we can do this. We can share all this information online, and I can see these creatures and these videos that you send in, because something that we might just take for granted as a small species that lives under a rock in the UK seem to have so much more impact when they're huge. And just like taking a moment to realise that around the world, all of these different types of creatures have adapted in their own way, and for some reason in South Africa everything has to be giant to survive, is absolutely incredible to see and a bit mind-blowing, and I just want to learn more. But in this video we have to zip all the way around to back to Australia, where the behaviour of a very domineering crab has been brought to our attention. Now at first glance you might think that this crab is doing a bit of ballroom dancing, or I suppose rock poolroom dancing, with a crab partner. No, you could think that maybe the small crab is the child of this big crab, and like a little toddler human, they're just trying to get it from A to B without hurting themselves. No, I don't think it's that either. It is actually a mating behaviour. And this comes about because crabs have a really stressful time at it when it comes to mating. So they are covered in a completely hard shell, and their entire body is covered, like all of it, which means that they can only mate when their shell comes off, which doesn't happen very often, and it's only for a few hours to a couple of days every time they molt their shell, they grow bigger, and during this time they also mate, which means the pressure is on, because it's a very small window out of the entire year that these crabs have chance to mate and reproduce, and that is very important to most species and survival. So male crabs often adopt this very, very domineering attitude towards a female they want to mate with, and that's because they're both waiting for them to molt at the same time, and they don't want anyone else to kind of sneak in and take their place right at the last minute. And so they do a thing called crab guarding, where the male and the female will stay close together and he will guard her to stop anyone else trying to mate with her instead. And it basically looks like she gets herded around for a few days before the mating and molting occurs. So that is why you see crabs sometimes doing this very strange domineering behaviour. Now the next section of my video is going to be called Stranger Rockpool Things. And that's because we're going to be talking about really strange creatures. My favourite. First up is a sea spider. Now I've made a whole video on sea spiders before, so you can go check that out now if you're curious about the spiders in our seas. And the species I found in the UK was really thin, spindly, looked a bit like a proper true spider. But a rockpooler in Iceland sent in what is known as, very aptly but a bit meanly, called a fat sea spider. Look at his little pudgy legs, it's so cute. Also sent in from Iceland is a really awesome video footage of a little urchin. Urchins are pretty incredible. They're found around the world in a variety of different sizes, colours and even shapes. Now we're going to go all the way to the Forklift Islands, which are here, for an awesome rock pooling photo of an urchin that has been sent in. Now as you can see, this species is a lot different to the other one. It's definitely less spiky, it's a different colour and it's a different shape. Now this urchin, I feel like if it was a person, is one of those people that decide to email instead of having meetings, because it's short, sharp and to the point. There's less spines and it seems to be not so bothered about protection. Maybe it's worked out that you don't need, 200 spines, you only need 20 fat ones to get the job done. I don't know. It's just another example of the differences of the same group of species, but how they adapt in different places around the world to, in the end, look really, really different and survive in a different way. Also found in the Falklands is this really, really cool bit of footage of a Isopod, which is pretty huge compared to the ones we get in the UK, and is swimming around. And I just thought it was a really, really cute and different and strange species to include. Now this next strange species section makes me very happy because it shows that other people around the world are really obsessed with the weird blobby eggs that you always find on the rocky shore. In the UK, you find these green egg sacs everywhere, and it's classically thought to be the eggs of the green leafworm. But I realised the other day, and shared that over social medias, that I saw these eggs also being laid by a different type of worm, by another species. And this was really interesting, and I really enjoyed sharing this kind of snippet of me realising this on social medias. So I will link to my social medias down below and here. So if you want more behind the scenes footage and more facts and interesting things, then go check out my social medias as well. But back to these wonderfully weird blobs that are egg sacs, and moving away from worms, this egg sac is actually laid by a species of Nudibranch called a spotted alager. The person that spotted this in Seattle didn't actually find the Nudibranch, the actual adult, but found the eggs. And this is a really key point because nudibranchs are very cryptic. They like to camouflage in, they're very tiny and they're very difficult to spot. So as a way of categorizing where nudibranchs are found, it's a lot easier to find their eggs, because usually the eggs are about this big, but the nudibranchs themselves are teeny weeny, and it's much easier to spot something that literally looks like an alien has visited the rocky shore than it is to find these tiny sea slugs. And I think that's a really cool point, that if you find these eggs, make note of them and try and find out what they are, because you might be able to provide some information of a species that isn't found very often in a new location. But this person did send in an absolutely gorgeous bit of footage of a really, really beautiful nudibranch that they did find. Nudibranchs are incredible. They are found around the world. In the tropics they are super colourful, and here in the UK they are super cute but slightly less colourful. And I found some species which are really, really awesome and exciting. So check out that video here when I found the first nudibranch. I really, really freaked out. because I was so joyous and so happy. If you've gone rock pooling anywhere in the world and have found something you want to share with me, I will link my email down below, and send me an email with the subject Global Rock Pooling Show, and I will try and include that in upcoming episodes. And it would be really exciting to see what you guys are finding when you put your wellies on, so that we can continue this series and just share the awesomeness of the world's intertidal coastlines. But I promised you your jaws would drop, so we are getting to the wonderful moment we are introduced to a rock pooling shark. But first I want to talk about something that is a lot more common when you're rock pooling. If you're going to find fish on the shore, then most likely you're going to find a Gobi species. Gobies are found again around the world, and there are tons of species that have adapted to live in a load of different ways. Each species is slightly different, they look slightly different, they're a different colour, and they act in slightly different ways, and getting to learn about them and getting to know the gobies in your area are really awesome and really cool, because they are just these little bundles of energy that are really fantastic to witness and watch. I have found a lot of gobies myself in the UK and filmed them, and they are absolutely gorgeous and glorious. But another rock pooler pointed them out that they really enjoyed seeing them in Lanzarote with this fish footage here. But now, onto the moment you have been waiting for, the amazing, the incredible shark rock pooling footage. You're not going to win any points for guessing where they found this though, because we're going to be heading down under again to Australia. Surprise, surprise. This footage of what I want to pronounce it as an epaulet shark, let me know if I'm saying that right, was found on Heron Island in Australia. Rocky shores are just absolutely incredible. They hold all types and stages of lives and behaviours and just amazing species, because not only are they places for juvenile species to live out their lives and try and hide away from the predators, but they are also sustaining the top predators that are around in the area. And it's everything in between that that is so important, and everything that we've seen all interconnects, all forms a community, and all helps to support the life around the entire globe. And so even though we are talking about species that could be, literally the other side of the world to each other, at the end of the day it is only one ocean. And that's what's incredible about seeing the rock pooling creatures from around the world. They may be different, but they're all at the end of the day still part of that same community. They're still supporting ecosystems wherever they are, and just acting as a way to build the food web and just be an incredible environment and habitat for so many marine creatures to live. And not only that, we should point out that people have access to these around the world. People are sending in footage from, 5 different continents, and hopefully more in the future, because you just need a pair of wellies and you can see things from weird creatures like isopods or urchins, and giant limpets and giant spider crabs, to tiny little crabs that like to decorate, and even sharks. My mind is constantly blown by the incredible life you can see for the price of a pair of wellies. And I am so honoured that you have shared your rock pooling trips with me, and so excited to see future footage. And that leaves today's episode. And with that, that's the end of today's episode of Global Rock Pooling. And if you like this type of content, again, please make sure to subscribe and share and support this channel, and comment below what is your favourite species you saw, and what is the favourite species you have seen in your entire life. Have you been rock pooling? Where do you live? Where do you go? Let's start a conversation, and I will catch you next week for another video, because I produce videos every single Wednesday, and I have done for over 2.5 years. So I will see you next week. Bye everyone.